our main event for this episode, as I mentioned before, is a top rope list of our favorite foreign objects and weapons in pro wrestling. And if you don't know what a top rope list is, it's pretty much a list. There's not really much to explain here, but the one little caveat I do want to break out to you guys is that it boils down to a top 3 more than anything else, and those are the bottom rope, middle rope, and top rope. Essentially, they translate to a bronze medal, a silver medal, and a gold medal. That's the ranking system that we have here. And you can do a list from 3 to 5 to 10 to 50 to whatever you want to do or whatever like that. Usually I try to keep things around a 10, a 5, or a 3 because too many things you start running into problems of like how do you rank them and all that other kind of stuff. But today, for the podcast side of things, I'm not going to be talking about my top 10. If you want to go check out the full list that I have, go to smarkoutmoment.com. That's all listed there, along with a couple of honorable mentions. But I'm going to be doing my top 3, and everybody else is going to be doing their top 3, or if they have anything extra they want to throw in there too, then, well, we'll just kind of go back and forth and stuff. And the topic at hand being the best weapons and stuff, this comes about because of TLC. And, we obviously are going to have a big focus on tables, ladders, and chairs, the top 3 things for that thing. Stairs no longer a part of the pay-per-view anymore, oddly enough. I don't know why they decided to get rid of that.
I do, because it was fucking dumb.
Well, how much more dumb is it than a chairs match?
He's got a pretty dumb.
The chairs matches have been pretty stupid. The stairs matches were like, oh, they're going to add stairs in here too? Like, I maintain that TLC should be, if they keep referring to it as the Demolition Derby, first off, Demolition Derby is a better name for the pay-per-view. And second, the logo is stupid, and the concept is stupid, and the TLC match is stupid, and to hell with it. But if they're going to go with that, just go crazy. Just have tables, ladders, chairs, stairs, kendo sticks, brass knuckles, just any kind of a thing that you can throw out there.
Call the pay-per-view Extreme Rules, that'd be awesome.
Right? Yeah. Then they can have an Extreme Rules match and a no DQ match and no holds barred. Yeah, a couple backstage brawls, and they can just go crazy with it. And then they can get rid of it and replace it with something that matters. So we're going to go person to person here and talk about our top 3 stuff. And then we're just going to kind of spitball when it comes to that. So who wants to start off with their bottom rope, their number 3?
I'll go, if nobody else wants to go.
Go for it.
For my number 3, I have gone for the 2x4 barbed wire. When Mick Foley introduced that in his feud with Triple H, I was like, damn, that shit's pretty dangerous. Damn, that shit's pretty cool. Damn, I want a piece of plywood with a barbed wire wrapped around, because that shit looks fucking amazing, and I can protect my family with that shit.
That's like, I can protect my family. Like, you're just gonna sit there, like somebody has like a baseball bat beside their bed or something like that. You're like, I've got a 2x4 with barbed wire.
Right? Some fucker tried to break into my shed the other day, right? And I went down there with a plank of wood from under my bed.
With no barbed wire?
With no barbed wire. Just one of my slats that holds my mattress up.
Anybody else really wish that we could get a video of Sean walking around with a 2x4 with barbed wire?
I don't even think anybody broke into there. I'm picturing Sean just hallucinated all this. And he's just like running around his backyard chasing nothing with this fucking piece of wood he broke off of his bed.
Get out of here, you squirrels.
That damn Walker boy running around again.
It's not even a 2x4 that he's running around with. It's a little tiny chunk of wood.
It's not even a chunk of wood. It's a paper towel roll.
Somehow wrapped with barbed wire.
And Sean right now is going, I'm so glad that I share my stories with these guys.
Well, does anybody have barbed wire wrapped around 2x4 on their list by any chance?
No, got it wrapped around a toilet roll.
What do you guys think about this idea? Because they have used barbed wire in the past, and they've got the barbed wire bat and stuff. What's the 2x4 so separate from the barbed wire bat? What makes that better?
Because it's 2x4.
Instead of 1x1, one bat by one.
See, I picture it has something to do with the surface area. When you're hitting someone with the 2x4, you're hitting them more than with the bat.
I imagine, though, that you can get more leverage with the bat, because it's kind of... The fucking 2x4's chunky.
Yeah, but not when you're Ophie, like Cactus Jack. Like, he had to kind of maximize what he had there. He's not an athletic guy. I don't picture he's ever played a game of baseball. So I don't think he knows how to properly wield the bat. So that's why he went with the 2x4.
But
Plus,
then
the
he
2x4...
used the bat later, though.
The 2x4 is probably easier to light on fire as well, because the bat has got all that, like, shellacking stuff on it. It's probably protected more.
It's got wider reach.
I always thought it was dumb when you'd set a weapon on fire. It's like, fucking didn't do anything.
It doesn't, like, I don't know, like, it's not the difference maker kind of thing, but it doesn't hurt, you know, like, well, it does hurt,
no,
that's
it's
the
on
point.
Fire. No, I'm melting and concussed.
Remember
Like-
that time that Mick Foley wrapped himself in barbed wire?
Oh,
Does
yeah,
that count
was
as a
the
weapon?
Edge, that was the Edge
Yeah.
match, so Edge
Yeah.
speared him, and then when he took his jacket off and he was all bleeding and shit. It was
Yeah.
great. That was clever. I wondered why he looked so poofy in that match.
Yeah, barbed wire is definitely a weapon. There's a wide variety of this. I started writing up a list a couple weeks ago, just like whatever would come to my mind, and I had about 10 things down or so, and then I started looking at stuff the other day, just like lists of different things on websites and gimmick matches that they've had over the years and stuff, and I was just like, oh my god, I forgot about the bowling ball, and I forgot about stop signs, and just ridiculous shit that I didn't even bother to mention on our little list that we were kind of going by, like Hardcore Holly winning the Hardcore Championship with that, it was like a
Candy
jar.
jar.
Yeah, with the, what was it filled with?
Candy.
I thought it was candy, like jelly beans or something like that. It's like,
What was the candy jar filled with? Oh, candy?
well, I didn't know if it was jelly beans or if it was like hard candy or, you know.
Did
Little
Crash ever
individually
use the
wrapped
scales as a weapon?
I was going to say that they brought the scale down to the ring.
It's like there's so many things they've done over there. They had ball pit matches and stuff, so it's like they've gone crazy, and that's kind of part of like what's weird here is the idea that you could pick something that's kind of out there. I didn't even remember that they did the 2x4 with the barbed wire. I was only thinking about the bat. So kudos to you, Sean, pulling something out there I didn't have on my list. Who wants to go with their number 3?
Moppy. Moppy was awesome.
Moppy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I felt so bad for Perry Saturn when he got put in the the wood chipper. I was like, Dick, can't do that. It's Moppy.
I don't know what tore my heartstrings more, was when that happened or when Big Boss Man made Al Snow eat pepper.
Oh, that was pretty bad.
God, imagine how much worse it would have been if Big Boss Man would have made Al Snow eat Moppy.
No, they made Perry Saturn eat Boppy because he totally would. Like, you just think this is any old wood chips he's eating.
To be fair, right, no sane man would leave Tori Wilson for a mop, right? I'm just
No, I see
saying.
the resemblance. Both really skinny, both got scraggly hair.
That mop isn't gonna bitch.
Damn.
I can see Tori being a little bit of a pain in the ass. Yeah. Don't know her at all, so it's total just like speculation. But...
Goldust left her. I mean, it's not like he was going to be a big man on the market.
So we got Moppy, we got a 2x4 wrapped with barbed wire. Kaylin or Peyton, what are your number 3s?
I'll go next. My number 3 is a tie, and they're related. I would go with the Money in the Bank.
I thought you were going with a tie.
Just a necktie.
When Daniel Bryan attacked Justin Rodman.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going with. I'm just like, a tie? Number 3?
No, it is equally between the Money in the Bank briefcase and any kind of title belt that somebody has on them. So not a tie, but a belt. Because it's always attached to their character, it's part of who they are, so it's always on them. And it's one of those things, it's kind of like their ace in the hole, obviously used more by heels. But it's one of those things where, especially when somebody has the Money in the Bank briefcase and it's a heel, and they're just going to use that thing. And as time goes on, that briefcase just gets so banged up from using it so much that you can kind of see the evolution of that. So I would go Money in the Bank briefcase on the same level with title belt as number 3.
Now, I almost added that into my top 10 list. I decided to keep that in my honorable mentions and stuff. But one of the reasons I do like that is what you mentioned, because it's somebody, they're carrying that around. So if they're going to hit somebody with something, it's just like, well, I got this briefcase. I might as well just smack you in the face with it. And the thing I don't like about it, though, I never really thought that title was as, vicious of a weapon as a lot of other things could be. They're heavy. and they're certainly going to hurt. But I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
Like,
a club
if we
with
knew what
Roman
they
Reigns
kept in
pretty
it-
good.
Like, they need to, like, do more about what they're keeping in that briefcase. Are they just carrying around an empty briefcase? Like, why don't they, like, use it to put other stuff in there? And if, like, you're going to use it as a weapon, why don't you just put, like, rocks in there?
yeah. That would be cool if, like, somebody did that one time. They hit somebody over the head with the briefcase and then opened it up and it was just filled with, like...
Bees. No.
Yeah, I don't know, like some kind of,
Carry
like...
wrestling gear in it. It'd be great if you fucking dropped it and all the shit fell out.
I think that they can amp it up a little bit more. And, I don't know. What do you guys think about the idea of them, like, hitting with the title belts? Is that justified enough for them to, like, win a match that way?
Oh, absolutely. That's a heavy piece of metal. But it only looks good if they actually do it. Like, when they hit them, like, when they're running or just smacking with them, it usually looks good. But when they, like, put it on the ground and do a move onto it, that never tends to work out very well. Usually they miss it, or in some cases, like, the belt will be upside down. Like,
Yeah, I used to hate it when Triple H used to do the pedigree and it looks so unrealistic.
Well, is that supposed to really hurt them more, or is it just kind of like a statement?
I think it's meant to hurt them more.
well, okay, if you're going to argue that, then you can't complain about Paige doing the move on top of the table.
Yeah, that's true. Although I would assume that it would still hurt a lot more than her putting a finisher on the table.
Well, let's ask Paige to try it out.
I agree with Tony
About what?
about the whole page tap out on the table.
Yeah, I hate that
Sorry.
thing so much. Peyton, what's your number 3? What's your bottom rope?
My number 3 is the table.
Actually, that's my number 3 too.
I love tables. They are one of the most satisfying things in wrestling, to hear someone go through a table. I can't think of anything that actually goes on top of that. Just the sound of someone crunching through a table. And not those shitty announce tables that
No.
collapse and you can put back together, but if they flip over, you can't do anything. It just stuck that way. I mean an actual card table that they would use. Like the kind they took out of like some place's lunchroom.
Mm-hmm.
When someone goes through that, it's great. But the reason I have it at number 3 and not higher is because it's the kind of thing that can be very easily overdone. I'm not typically a fan of a lot of the tables matches they do. It's something that needs to be done very sparsely and has to have a reason for it. I'm okay with one group having the gimmick, like the Dudley Boys. They've generally done it very well. But when we had people like Public Enemy coming out with the tables too, and then Insane Clown Posse, and it got to be way too much.
Or weren't they all just trying to be the Dudley Boys?
I think they were all just trying to be 90s.
Now, I totally agree, though. I have table as my number 3, and for a lot of the same reasons. The brown breakaway cardboardy tables are awesome, and that smack that you hear, that just like crunch, is one of the most satisfying things that you got out there. That's one of my things that I wrote down on my list of like the qualifying factors. The sound plays a lot into whether or not I like a weapon. And I'm going to throw one out there that I don't think anybody's going to have on their list. If they do, then, we'll get to it more later. But something that I like, but I don't have enough on my top 10 list, but it's really good for sound, are the cookie sheets.
Yes.
When you can smack somebody with that and you just hear that, like, pah, kind of thing.
But they also don't look like they hurt at all.
No, but it's still fun as hell to watch, you know? So that's why I couldn't give it a top 10, but it's still like, I'd rather see somebody work with that than to try to mess around with I hate the idea of like Kane with the hook, because it was just like, dude, you're not going to stab somebody. Just don't even bring it to the ring. Or like, hopefully nobody has this on their list, but Triple H's sledgehammer. Does anybody have that?
No.
No.
Alrighty, good. Because one of the things that bugs me about that, the sledgehammer would kill anybody. So that's why they can't really use it, other than Triple H putting his hand over it, and that just looks lame. But you can't get around a table. Those motherfuckers are going through the table. Mm-hmm. You put up a normal table, somebody does some kind of a finisher, so you're already getting a good move on top of it, and then they smash it in half, and you hear that crunch, and you see the damage, and it's like part of the table's on the left side, part of it's on the right, Sometimes it cuts them, unfortunately, and you get that gash that Hardcore Holly had, which is just, ugh, man.
Well, the best is not where some of it's on the left and some of it's on the right. The best is when some of it flies in the air and pieces and like ends up all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so great that there's a running joke of the Spanish announcer's table getting ruined.
Yes. Yes, I love that. Every pay-per-view, that's one of my predictions besides who's going to win the matches, is I predict who's going to go through the Spanish announce table.
But I do have to agree about Peyton's thing there, though, that those announcing tables are garbage. They're like, I don't know, the cardboard insert kind of idea, like, it just doesn't have as much of an impact. And the only reason that it looks cool when somebody does go through it now is if they have all the equipment still on it, because then that looks like that hurts, because you're landing on top of, like, TV monitors and cables and stuff, and
you know what the ridiculous thing is that sometimes those tables still don't give away.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was just going to say. I hate it when they don't collapse. And then sometimes they'll get up and try to do the same move again, and it looks lame. They're like, oh, we screwed up. Let's try it again.
The best thing that's ever happened with one of those announce tables is Orton's leg falling down the fucking hole.
Oh, that looks so painful.
Or the one time he cut up his back on the monitor a couple years ago.
But if you watch Orton's reaction, he was totally doing the ow, fuck, and trying to, like, cover it.
yeah. Well, shit, that's got to hurt more than going through the table.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that must have sucked, but I fucking laughed, to be quite honest. It looked hilarious.
Plus, I think you should give a lot of credit to the tables for being something that has created a gimmick match that's actually kind of fun. Like, putting somebody through a table. Cool. Let's make a match out of it. Hell of a lot better than a chairs match or a stairs match, where it's just like, well, what's the gimmick? I don't know. Hit each other. Okay. Like, it's got an actual direction to it.
Yeah, I really like the breakaway tables, the ones that they put in the ring. The only thing, though, is it is a little predictable because 9 times out of 10, whoever set up the table is the one going through it, which is understandable because they want to make sure that it's, safe for them and, they don't have to rely on the other guy putting it in the right position, so it's on them. But it's like, oh, okay, he set it up. It looks like he's going to go through it, but actually the other guy.
So I'm curious, does anybody have like a favorite table moment that they've come across?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, that tables match in TNA was great.
Was it like a reverse tables match? Whoever sets up a table?
Whoever sets the table.
Whoever glues it back together.
Whoever busses the table. So what are some of the great things?
It's supposed to be on the left.
I could just see Abyss right now just going like, oh, damn it. I got that wrong. Instead of a salad fork, I put that fucking Janice down.
Yo, that glass table in TNA, that was a bad fucking concept.
Glass table?
They did have glass tables. That was around...
What?
That was LAX, and I think they were feuding with Christian and somebody at the time. But yeah, Christian went for a glass table.
That's real fucking smart.
Yeah.
Jesus, TNA, come on, man. As far as table spots, the first thing I can think of, and it's not like the best thing ever or something like that, but it's the first thing that comes to my mind is whenever they stack up the 2 tables and somebody falls from a ladder in a TLC match, that's always fun. Yep. Like Taker did it one year, it was like 3 years ago or something like that. Or was that his match with Edge? Is that what it was? I think it was.
I know Cena and Edge did that off of a ladder.
Ryback did it to Seth Rollins a few years ago. That was amazing. He went for 3, I think, Seth Rollins?
3 of them?
3 tables or 4 tables. It was a really high ladder. He fell off.
My favorite's got to be the WrestleMania 17 Jeff Hardy one. It was fucking insane.
That was brutal. Yeah.
I see mine's another Jeff Hardy moment, but in the steel cage match at Survivor Series, where he goes to do the swanton on Devon, and Devon rolls off the table, and he goes through it. Cost him the match. Great.
I'm going to make my second reference to this match during this episode, and that is Edge versus Mick Foley from WrestleMania 23. The very
Flaming
ending
table.
of the match. Yeah, you were saying before, like, setting a weapon on fire does nothing. Well, the table it does. And just the way Edge speared him through the ropes, going down onto them, and that match was just so awesome. It's one of my favorite matches of all time. Oh, it sucks what Mick Foley's become.
So I'm going to go in snake fashion here. I'm going to give my my middle rope. My number 2 is a ladder. Oddly enough, it's another one where you can have fun matches out of it. You can actually like do more with a ladder that I think is fun other than just hitting somebody. Like you can use it to set up a move, and you have people that can do top rope moves off the top of that, and that's always like super awesome to watch. You know, if we can get like a red arrow off of the ladder, that's amazing. And you've got the ability to knock somebody into a table or something like that. Plus, ladder matches are just good matches normally. Hell in a Cell, or not Hell in a Cell, Money in the Bank is something that revolves around being a ladder match. If they had like Money in the Bank where, you know, it was just like a normal match and whoever gets the pinfall, they end up doing that, blah, you know, it wouldn't matter as much. But the ability to see somebody climb up that and grab something, and on top of it too, they're climbing up there and they could just get knocked off, that is super fun. And I know that probably some other people have ladder matches on their list, so I'm going to kind of shut up and not talk about that for the whole time and stuff. But Peyton, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is the Undertaker's urn. Now, it's not even so much for the use of it, of hitting people with it. It's more the supernatural power that it brought. When Paul Bearer lifted that up and summoned the power of it, the Undertaker suddenly got a huge shot of adrenaline, and he was unstoppable at that point. And then they even did some other cool twists with it too, where you could even use it against the Undertaker and bring him to his knees. Very, very powerful and unique object that they used in wrestling.
Well, now I know what it was full of. Adrenaline. That explains everything.
What do you think when they melted it down into the chain?
They melted it down to a chain. I thought he just attached it to a chain and wore it.
No, Kama melted
That's
it.
what. Yeah, I thought he just wore it on a chain.
No, didn't he melt the whole thing down? Wasn't that the whole thing? That he ruined the urn and turned it into the chain?
No, I remember because that was a big thing at that time, was wearing big gaudy necklaces. So I think he was wearing it on a chain.
He's off the chain. Anybody have any thoughts on the urn? If that's something that really stands out to them as like a really cool one, because it was used as the end of a match, the Boiler Room Brawl.
I'm sure there was other cases of it being used too. That's a very notable one though, because that was the big Paul Bearer turn.
I'm looking it up right now. I'm seeing multiple things saying after Kama melted the urn.
Huh. Okay.
And then they remelted it back and formed another urn out of it.
Huh. Okay.
Either
There
way,
you go.
Kama doesn't have it anymore. That would have been kind of cool, though, to see like the chain become like a chain match kind of a thing with the urn. It's like the only weapon that can be used as a blunt object or a strangulation thing. Urn's cool, though. I mean, it's got a lot of like historic value to it, too. So, you know, seeing them use it in different ways. It's a shame that they didn't bring that back with the Brothers of Destruction thing. That would have been cool for the Wyatt family to have the urn. I don't know why they didn't do that.
I think they sort of retired it with the death of Paul Bearer.
Yeah, that's true, because they did do that with the CM Punk story.
Mm-hmm.
And the ashes in it, which was just like, oh shit, dude. You think the Reed Flair promo is bad? Jesus.
I never saw anything wrong with that.
With the Paul Bearer thing?
People just got fucking butthurt. It wasn't offensive at all. It's just Paul Bearer's always been a fucking part of the Undertaker. It'd be stupid not to acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm. I liked it. I thought it was a good story, but not up to me. You know what I mean? Kaylin, what's your number 2?
My number 2, well, you guys had as your number 3. It's the tables, but that's kind of anticlimactic now since we basically went over that whole topic. So I am going to branch off, and because we were talking about no branches. I was talking about things that have that sound, like Tony, you were saying that was one of the reasons you liked the table so much and had it on your list, is because the sound. You're also talking about cookie sheets, and when I was looking through lists of foreign objects trying to come up with my top 3, Kendo sticks. Now that's one that has a hell of a sound, but I don't know, I've never been hit with one, but it doesn't look like it hurts that much because the way the sticks are bundled, it looks like a lot of that momentum is kind of, I don't know, distributed among the stick.
Those fuckers stink.
Stings. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like that's one that's way more of the sound and appearance than actual hurting. God damn it!
kendo sticks are actually legit painful. Like that's one of those things that people hate being hit when they're working in a match because they actually fucking hurt.
Yeah, watch Cena versus The Miz, or is it Cena versus Randy Orton when one of them's handcuffed up and get the piss beaten out of him with his kendo stick? Cena, like you can tell he fucking hates every moment of it.
Does anybody have kendo sticks on their list?
I don't. I have that in like the top 10 because I do think that it's really good, but I think it's overused now. Like they've kind of neutered the steel chair and they've taken that as like the replacement.
I still don't get why kendo sticks are under the ring.
Well, see, that's one of the big things I wanted to bring up about ladders is believability is something that I give a lot of credit to. Like the tables ringside make perfect sense. They're going to be ringside. People need tables and stuff. And the ladders make sense because they're setting up the lights and stuff. Mm-hmm. Why the hell would there be kendo sticks under the ring? Training with kendo sticks for matches.
Yeah, well, I mean, you imagine a lot of these guys are into the martial arts, so maybe they're training there and doing sparring before they go on the air.
Maybe it's like a never-ending cycle that they're training people because there's always someone attacking people with kendo sticks, so they need to know how to defend themselves, but they're the ones supplying it.
A kendo stick makes a lot more sense than a fucking cookie sheet.
Yeah.
Someone baking down there. Or what about a stop sign?
The cookie sheet, I would argue, they took it from catering.
But what's it doing there? What did they take it for? Why didn't they give it back? And if it, that did happen, how come it keeps happening so many times? What inconsiderate person is on the crew that keeps stealing stuff from other departments and not returning it?
That'd be an awesome gimmick. Shit, that could have been Raven's gimmick. He was always had like a shopping cart full of weapons.
He's just stealing all that stuff. He could have had like a plant in the audience in the front row have something that he just takes away from them and uses it as a weapon.
I don't know, between the jeans and the shopping cart and all this shit, I could have swore he was a homeless guy.
I have never been hit by a kendo stick. I don't ever plan on getting hit by it, but I've held one and I've kind of like, lightly like smacked myself and I'm like, all right, I can see how this can really hurt. Dace has been hit by them before and he's attested to them hurting like a son of a bitch. So I buy into it. And the sound's part of it because that snap is like, ouch. It does seem like it would sting.
Yeah, see, that's the thing about it. It just has that crack when it hits somebody with it. So
over the head doesn't feel too bad because you kind of just shake it off. But it's when it's like a crush your back, that's when it's nasty.
Yeah, and I know they leave welts and stuff. But...
I would assume like around like the stomach kind of area would sting a lot. Because you're not used to getting hit.
But I would have not let anyone hit me in the fucking stomach with one.
No, it's going to be at the back of the legs, right? That's going to where it really fucking stings the most, right?
See, I picture getting hit in the balls would probably be the worst.
No, well, yeah, by far. Look, you can do any of these weapons to any part of the body, and the one that's going to hurt the most is the balls.
How about a barbed wire 2x4?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the balls are going to hurt the worst on that one, too. Wago, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is the trash can. I love the trash can, the way it just folds up when someone lands on it, or when Shane went coast to coast and kicked it in Vince's face.
Oh, coast to coast is awesome.
It's got such a satisfying crunch, and you could always see the imprint. It's fucking just great.
On top of that, too, there's a lot of things that you can use the trash can with. You got the lid, which is just kind of like you're using the cookie sheet.
And then you can do the thing where you put the trash can on top of them, and then, I can't see, I've got it over. That's a fucking great spot, I love it.
Even better is when they do that, and then they hit them with other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what was it, The Rock or something, where they put him in there, and then they hit him with a chair?
Yeah.
It was like, well, why don't you just set the guy on fire while you're at it? Like, all right, I'm going to set you on fire, put you in a trash can, and then hit you with a 2x4 covered in barbed wire.
Which is also on fire.
That I also pissed on. Trash cans are great. A lot of different things that you can use with those. Not Wago. Sean, what's your number 2?
My number 2 was also a ladder, but I've had to think about it. I'm going to go with a fire extinguisher. It's always fun. It's always a fun spot to see somebody get squirt with the foam and then get hit over the head with it. It's always cool.
Plus, I mean, it's reliable. Like, you hit somebody over the head with that thing, you're going to knock them out. Like,
I like when Kane threw it into a windshield.
I like that.
What's your favorite moment for extinguishers? Because the first thing I think of is Piper.
Mine's John Cena for some odd reason.
I like how it was used to put out Mick Foley.
Well, then it's a helpful weapon.
I think my favorite use of the fire extinguisher was for Gilbert's entrance.
Oh, that was great. So Sean, what's your number one on this list?
I got two number ones because I couldn't decide. And the trash can, obviously, because the whole coast to coast, or Bob Orton's cast.
Cast is a really cool one because that's a good way for them to kind of just like fuck you to the audience, you know?
Yep.
I like how they followed up with that with Randy Orton getting his arm hurt. He came out with his arm in the sling.
A lot of people have done that over the years. Owen Hart had that for a little bit.
Undertaker had a cast when he versed Brock Lesnar, and that went Hell in a Cell. That was great.
And you got to mention D'Lo Brown's chest protector.
Oh yeah, how did they let him keep that?
You mentioned Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, but that actually reminds me of another weapon spot. You mentioned ties earlier. That Paul Heyman spot in the Hell in a Cell was great. Undertaker grabs his tie through the fence and just rams his face off against it multiple times till he bleeds.
That was good.
A lot of tie usage in this episode. Didn't expect that one.
That's one of my favorite weapon spots of like all time. It's great.
Actually, I'll just go with the whole medical supplies. There you go. The crutch is always good.
I love the use of crutches.
Cody Rhodes' nose mask was pretty good.
There's one thing I like about the crutch is, and I kind of explained this a little bit on the website, so I'm going to spoil that for you guys. But I like how the crutches are supposed to be something that helps, but usually it's a heel uses it to hurt somebody. Like, they should be holding on to those as, you know, something that keeps them from, you know, falling over, them being, like, weaker, that kind of a thing, and something like that. And when you can smack that over somebody's head and it breaks in half and stuff, Triple H doing it to Owen Hart, it's the first thing I think of when it comes to that. And that was a great way to take him out of the Royal Rumble. Crutches are very cool. Wago, you're number one?
Well, part of me wants to say the steel chair, because it is the weapon that's always being used. Like, when you think of a pro wrestling weapon, you think of the steel chair. It's just become so commonplace. But I also have a love for the prosthetic leg. I've only seen it really used in indies for the most part, but every time someone actually ends up doing that, and I'm surprised I've seen it more than twice.
Shawn Michaels used one.
Oh, he did.
Doink the Clown?
Doink the Clown, yeah. But in the Good Friends, Better Enemies match with Diesel, he took Mad Dog Vachon's leg.
But every time that someone takes a leg, it gets a reaction. It's like, dude's got a fucking leg. It's great.
That's a step up from the cast.
See, medical supplies.
I don't know if a cast is going to work this time. I think I'm going to have to hit him with your leg.
I mean, we had a character whose gimmick was that he had a prosthetic leg.
Wow, I love the one.
It's more than a gimmick.
I love how he fucking put him on his shoulders and just F5'd his one leg into the fucking ring post. That was great.
Prosthetic leg is not something I was expecting to be on this list, but I'm glad somebody brought it up. I forgot about that one. Kaylin, you're number one. What's your top rope?
My number one is not really known for being devastatingly powerful, but I usually find it highly entertaining. My number one is food when it's used in matches or in backstage segments. It's, you know, when they do Thanksgiving feast matches and it basically just turns into a food fight. When you had Ryback shoving food in people's faces backstage, and then when he had Concessions Kane and he's squirting ketchup and mustard on them. Let's see, Dean Ambrose did a similar thing when he stole that hot dog cart and he attacked the Authority. Anytime there's a cake, you know it's getting smashed in somebody's face. And my favorite use of food would have to be the Austin Booker T supermarket brawl when he was hitting them with fruit, ketchup, and mustard, mashed potatoes, flour, soda, frozen pizza, mashed potatoes. I fucking love that segment. And I don't know, maybe it's, you know, the food fight-loving junior high kid inside of me that, you know, still thinks that's funny, but I fucking love the food fight. So I'm going to say food is my number one.
What did not expect food?
You're missing out on the greatest food moment ever. And that was when Ryback slapped the intern with a handful of tuna.
Yes,
and,
yes.
He continued like yelling at him while you still see like a bunch of tuna hanging out in the ear.
That's sort of the one I was talking about when he's shoving food in people's face backstage. But yeah, he did slap him. That's right.
So would Kevin Owens eat Deborah's cookies?
If they were chocolate chip.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
chocolate chip.
Peyton, what's your number one?
My number one is also going to be a manager's weapon, and I don't think anybody would have seen this one coming, but I'm going to go with Jimmy Hart's megaphone.
Nice.
Now, this was something that he used as an annoyance because he would scream through it to cheer on whoever his particular wrestler is, which was a fun gimmick as well, and he would often paint it up to represent whoever he's with along with his suit, so he got that matching a lot of the times. But even as a weapon, you could hit someone with that, and that's a big, hard piece of plastic. Matter of fact, just the other night, I was watching Starrcade 1994, which is a very odd show. And during this show, they have a match between Mr. T and Kevin Sullivan. And Jimmy Hart has ties to Mr. T because they're all in that Hulk Hogan circle. So Jimmy Hart's out there, and he's like causing a distraction. And then Santa comes out because this is Starrcade used to be in December, so this was a few days after Christmas. So Santa comes out through the crowd and hits Kevin Sullivan in the back of the head with his sack, which had Jimmy Hart's megaphone in it, which allowed Mr. T to get the victory.
I'm surprised nobody went with Jim Cornette's tennis racket. Speaking of gym managers with a weapon.
Holy dangerous, his cell phone's a good one.
The cell phone, yeah.
Did you ever hit people with
Fucking
it?
huge. Yeah, he nailed a few people with that.
Oh yeah, that's what I was expecting to say when he said talking about manager's equipment or whatever. I would expect you to say him and cell phone.
So I'm going to go with my top rope is the steel chair. And when I was making my list up, I didn't expect it, but my top three are tables, ladders, and chairs. Which kind of bugged me because I talked about how much I don't like the TLC pay-per-view, but I was like, damn it. Steel chair to me is just the fundamental weapon. It's like as basic as you can get and simple works. Like, it sucks now, and it's a shame because they ruled out all the chair shots to the head. But man, was that awesome back in the day.
Here's the thing, and I don't understand why they got rid of the chair shots to the head. Like, sure, some guys got concussions, but you protect yourself. It's not fucking hard.
Yeah, if you put your hand over, and block it or whatever like that, it's not going to be the same as when McFoley got blasted in the head, or, if somebody got hit like from behind or something like that would be like, don't fucking do that. But it sucks now that they only do the chair shots to the back.
Mm-hmm. Or like they'll hit him in the gut, then hit him in the back. It's fucking. It looks terrible. Like,
and it's so like obviously choreographed. Like, you would think at some point somebody would hit somebody elsewhere, and instead it's just like, all right, well, they've got a chair. Either nobody gets hit, or they do the spot with the hit him in the back. So it's like
the last time someone got hit in the face, was it Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan?
might have been.
it's been a while.
And I don't know why, like, they get rid of it. There is a safe way to take chair shots. There's a really good fucking piece on YouTube with Raven talking about it, if you can look it up. And there's safe ways to do chair shots. I don't know why WWE's just got really overprotective about it.
But if you go back in time to an era where they did let that happen, I mean, we got the believability factor. There's going to be chairs around the ring. We got the sound of it is amazing. That thud that happens is so great. You can totally buy into that being something that would knock somebody out. And it's like, it makes sense as a weapon because you could hold it as a weapon instead of like, the bowling ball. And it's like, really, you got to position them to the corner of the ring and then roll the bowling ball. All right, this is a little bit goofy.
Oh,
or
I
like,
saw that spot blown really well on an indie. He rolled it, just rolled right out of the ring.
He should have had the, what do they call them? The little barricades.
That would have been, oh man, that would
Bumpers.
be a really awesome Shikara spot.
But like, like I said earlier about like the thing that bugs me about this Triple H, the sledgehammer, is there's an obvious way to hold that and to swing it, but they can't do that because it would end up like killing somebody, obviously, and they don't want to have that. But with the chair, you hold it the obvious way and swing it the obvious way. And it's like the easiest, simplest, most effective thing that they can possibly do. And We've had people break chairs over other people. We've had people use them at like they set it up in the corner of the ring, kind of like with the tables and the ladders. We've had people do the concerto thing. We've had people give finishers on top of different chairs. Like, there's such a wide variety of it.
Sabu's moonsault used to jump up the chair.
Yeah, I mean, the chairs are just awesome, and it's a shame that they're not as good as they used to be. So, table sliders and chairs rolling out number 1, 2, and 3 for me, oddly enough. We already broke down all of our top 3 lists and stuff, but I wanted to throw a couple more out there just to have a little bit of a discussion on it. I mentioned before that they had TLC before with stairs. Who else likes that idea that the stairs are something that they use? You know, just you throw somebody into them, and that smack that happens when you do that.
I mean, that's cool. It's a stupid match.
Well, yeah, as a match it doesn't work, but like,
I think the better place to use them rather than like throwing them into it is when they bring them into the ring and then they'll do a move onto it, like Brock Lesnar and John Cena did that a lot in their match.
Yeah, that was cool. I love the times where we see somebody pick up the stairs and throw them. It's just like, holy shit, dude.
Or like when they're lifting them up and then they get tripped and then they smack their face into it when they fall.
Yeah. What do you guys think about brass knuckles?
Classic.
Pretty simple.
Classic. Easy way for a
classic.
heel to bring it in, smack somebody with it, hide it back in their tights, and then they can play up like the referee searching their tights and feeling up their junk.
The power of the punch, man. The power
Regal
of the
did
punch.
it best.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Regal is what I associate with the brass knuckles.
I don't know if anybody would classify this as one or not, but I figured I would say that it works. Damien.
No, I don't count that as a weapon. Did he hit somebody with Damien?
No, but he does get him to bite people every once in a while.
I just imagine the British Bulldogs like just fucking cracking someone with Matilda.
I think he only had the snake bite once on Macho Man, and that was not during a match.
Oh, Davy Boy with Matilda right to the head.
Or he like Coco Beware just like released Frankie, just like catching people while like flapping his wings all over the place, shitting everywhere.
Fucking grabs the bird and like just drives his beak into people's eyes.
Shit, it would hurt, right? And it would probably confuse the hell out of their opponent. He'd be like, "Why you hit me with a bird?" What the fuck?
Damien, you could like choke him with it, so you could like use it as a strangulation.
Yeah, instead of like the chains or the bull whips or anything.
Oh, you could have a strap match with Damien. Tie him around your wrist at each end.
Give the opponent like the snake head end so he gets bit every time.
Oh man. So that rounds us out here. Make sure you guys leave your comments below. Tell us what your list would be. You could do a top 3, a top 5, top 1 if you don't like any of the other ones. Maybe you're the type of person that thinks that gimmick stuff like this is, ridiculous and you just want to see them wrestle or whatever. What do you think about our list too? And make sure you go check out the rest of that list on smarkoutmoment.com as well to see what rounded out my other 7 things that I wrote down there. So that's it for our main event. We got one more thing we need to take care of. The Fantasy League's coming up in part 5. Stay tuned, everybody. That's coming up next.